Welcome back, everyone, into the podcast studio because HTFC returns for episode 3 of season 2. Champions League is back. UCF soccer is back. We'll leave that for a little bit. I'm your host, as always, Edgar Rodriguez.
And I'm Patrick Deleon. And today, for this first segment, we've got Octavious.
He's back!
Us again. Hooray.
Welcome back.
That was not supposed to be sound sarcastic. I'm so sorry.
Yeah, good,
but
all good.
As usual, before we kick everything off, just like you said, we have Champions League.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to recap and preview some games.
As always.
And then UCF soccer, of course, men and women's.
Yes.
But before all that, jerseys. What are you wearing?
I am wearing the most, you know what I say.
Right.
The most beautiful kit in existence, okay? Last year at Highbury, the 05-06 home jersey for Arsenal with the GOAT, Henry, 14 on the back. Iconic, legendary. Have you guys lived up to it? That's my question.
It's a beautiful shirt.
Oh,
Yeah,
thank you.
I think it's up there for sure. It's not my favorite, but it is a nice shirt. It is a nice shirt, I will admit.
The kids segment from episode 1 came to life.
Yes, it did. So I have the Kawasaki Frontale home kit.
Very nice.
So I like it. I just love the blue a lot. It feels a little bit elegant. I don't know. I think it's a really nice and clean jersey.
We got the collar on there and everything.
Yeah, I like it.
I have a Florian Wirtz jersey on. Germany
Very
away
nice
last
though. The
year.
pink and purple. Oh,
Beautiful.
He hasn't done anything.
No?
I'm just saying.
Hey, we were talking about that off air.
I've said this before the season started. He wasn't going to do anything, and he hasn't done anything. So.
We will get into that a little later on. Should we start with our recap? Let's do it. Let's do it. And Patrick, we're going to start with your game. Man City, Man United, Manchester Derby. I mean, expected, really.
Yeah. I mean, shout out Sean Vaz, top 4 for United, right? We're still on that.
That is the...
Man City, I mean, they just... I mean,
to
be expected.
Yeah.
They
right?
stink.
But it's kind of an interesting mix when of these two teams when we were heading into this matchup because Man City, kind of a slow start for Pep Guardiola standards, right? We can all agree that they've really been slow. I think teams have really started to kind of figure them out finally after all this time, right? That now they're starting to feel a little bit more pressure or they just can't get off to the strong starts that they're used to. United being United, we already know. Foden, first half, 18-minute goal. Really easy, nice header. I loved it. He did because
last poor for about a year.
Yeah,
last year was abysmal, and
I would say for the last 18 months, he's been nowhere near his Premier League Player of the Season form. But yeah, I mean 3-0 Octo. I mean, if you thought United were going to get close at the Etihad, yes, last season they did. They got something out of it, and you can kind of call that a fluke. I mean, that is so rare for something like that to happen to City at home, Octo, but. Really just the same old from Ruben Amorim and United.
What you can expect, to be honest.
They just keep digging themselves into a deeper and deeper hole.
Amorim's got to be out. They've given him time. They've given him players.
Yeah.
There's no defending Amorim anymore.
No.
You can't win big games. You can't win close games. They were celebrating like they won the league against Burnley. They Amorim out.
Bro, and
it's over.
But you know what's the problem, though? I think they're too deep into this situation with Amorim. I've told you that before, Patrick. How many times are they going to swap and change managers before they land the correct one? So then, to make matters worse for Amorim, because he doesn't help himself in his conferences, he says he's not going to change. If they want a different style, they're going to have to change the man. So he's basically... I read that...
He's sticking to his guns.
I read that as... You know what? It's actually so bad. Get me out of here.
I think I told Edgar, I kind of interpreted it as that, like, it's just so hopeless. There's no effort in changing anything. So he's just going to keep doing what he can do. You know, like, United are a joke.
It really is a joke.
People say that, like, every week, I feel like.
United is a joke is a true statement. All you have to do is look at one of Haaland's goals. I believe it was the third, where he was onside in his own half.
Yeah.
The United back line, non-existent.
Onside trap.
The onside trap. That's very true. That's very true. I mean, Amorim's tactics, and he talks about his philosophy, changing his philosophy. What is his philosophy? Doing nothing?
Losing.
Yes, doing nothing and being
United's
so stubborn.
philosophy.
And let me tell you, if you are, yeah, it does work, right? If you want to lose every week. If you want to be a top manager in Europe, you have to be adaptable. You have to change. We saw it with Pep. He didn't really change his style with the injuries, couldn't really adapt, had a terrible season for City standards last season. For Amorim, if he continues to be stubborn, if he continues wanting to prove himself right, it's only going to keep getting worse.
He's gone by December.
It's ridiculous how
if it continues like this, yes. Yeah. If it continues like this, yes. Let's move on. What's the next game, Patrick?
We got Burnley, Liverpool.
That's right.
One that you were really upset about.
Yeah, I was going to curse there. Let's not do that. Look, Liverpool, every game so far this season. Yeah, you're pointing to the 90 plus 5. 5 games so far this season, they've won all 5. And all of the winners have come after the 83rd minute. 83rd minute is a number that resonates with me because that was Szoboszlai's free kick. And that was the earliest they've won a game this season. The way it came about, though, is what really, really frustrates me. It was a cross that came in, injury time. Burnley were down to 10 men. And Hannibal, just a reflex, puts his arm out. Little chicken wing action. It's a stonewall penalty. You can't, defend it. Afterwards, you see his reaction. He's just hands in face, embarrassed at what he did because he realizes the fact that even if, he didn't really try or whatever, it was just a reflex and instinct that handed Salah the perfect opportunity. He's not missing from 12 yards out.
So now, Liverpool are still perfect for
Still perfect.
No.
Should they be perfect, though? I think,
Definitely not.
Against us when we went to Liverpool, I think the first half, we didn't do enough with the ball. I think we controlled the first half as much as we possibly could have at Anfield. We just didn't hurt them. In the other games for Liverpool, though, I mean, they have put it down to the wire against Bournemouth. Almost drew that game. It took a worldie from Chiesa, that game, right? Against Atleti even. We'll get to that in a little bit. It was a Van Dijk header, bam, from the penalty spot that won them that match. If you're Slot, Patrick, are you concerned about what you've seen so far? I mean, you've won every game and you can't really complain.
It's
but
like, okay, but I think they're still kind of leaking too many goals for my comfort. I think that's the problem. They're just getting, I think their just attack is so coordinated and well put together that it can, it offsets that for right now. But that could be a problem later down the road. So I think it's something that I have to work on and clog before it gets too bad.
We spoke about Verts. Struggling Octo. Kirkez actually at left back. You do have Birds on the back of your shirt. Kirkez as well, kind of iffy to start. Yeah, very. Especially considering his performances at Bournemouth last season. Robertson is still there. He's pushing for the left back spot. Huge summer window, Octo. They really have no excuses to really put games away early. But we'll move on because we're going to Japan. And Patrick, I'm going to let you take over.
So this one's interesting. So we're going to actually the second division.
Break this down.
We've never talked about J2 before. So Nagasaki, right? Last time they've been in J1 was, I believe, 2018. So they've been stuck in J2 ever since. They've opened up a brand new, really nice stadium, and they're having a great year in that stadium right now. So they're second place, tied with first place in J2. So first, second, automatically promoted 3 to 6, or 3 to 6 playoffs, right?
Okay.
So, or I believe it's 3 to 6. It's a lot of teams though. Anyways, Red Bull bought out Omiya Ardea, so they were in J1 in 2018, relegated to J2, relegated to J3. Red Bull came in, bought them, immediately promoted back to J2. And earlier this year, they're only like 2 points behind third place, by the way. There's still a really tiny gap, to make those. It's tight, but earlier this year, they were definitely at the top of the bracket. Now they've kind of hit a rough patch of form. So, again, they lost a past weekend to Nagasaki. So this is a huge points for playoff implications because now they're tied on with Mito Hollyhock, which is on top in first place. So it's an interesting mix because nobody likes this team, obviously, because of Red Bull. We've seen the Red Bullification of many clubs.
Let's go into that.
So let's talk about that.
Let's go into that. You told me that they started in the third division not started, but they were in the third division just recently.
Right.
RB comes in.
They immediately go back up.
So people have a problem with that in Japan.
Yeah, I mean, I think as well as anywhere else we've
just
seen,
in general,
football groups. So you could probably make the same argument for City Football Group
yes.
as well as and all that kind of stuff, right?
You were talking about almost wearing your Sydney shirt, Octo. Exactly. That would have been. You couldn't tell the difference if you did that.
But so all these problems are always going to be relevant no matter the country, I feel like. But a lot of people don't want to see them go up because it's Red Bull, especially in Japan where back in the day, they've moved away from those company models where say pre-1990s, all the teams were named after, say, like
Yokohama.
Honda Motorsports FC,
yeah.
something like that, right? Like it was named after companies. People align themselves with companies. So this is kind of going back to like that model, and nobody really likes it because it's not really unique. They've stripped, they've reworked the badge. They've stripped it of the culture that existed before.
That's one of those unfortunate.
So now it's like, it's just the Red Bullification of it. That's what I really want to talk about, as well as just the playoff race in general.
To finish off with this game, do you think Omiya have a good chance here?
I don't think so, just because getting promoted is so hard. I just don't think they can get it done this year.
So another season
J2? Unless they hit the ground running in the next 9 games and go on a crazy streak. I don't think so.
Okay. All right. You've heard it here first. Some J2 action in HTFC. Let's go to Italy. Derby d'Italia delivered. 4-3 Juve. This took place at Allianz Stadium. It was rocking. This rivalry is one of the most historic. Not just in Italy, but in the world, in Europe. Golazos galore. Octo Chanaloglu. Kind of rolled back the years, really chesting it down, bow on the volley, on the swivel. I mean, it was just a ridiculous game, back and forth, and you didn't know who was going to win it until the very last second.
Yeah, no clue. You see how well this Juve team has played throughout the year, or this year.
Much better than they have been recently.
Yes, that's exactly something I wanted to bring up. Yeah,
but players like Kenan Yildiz, Marcus Thuram coming in and playing so elite. I thought Juve had it in the bag, and you see how well Inter played throughout the game. Luckily, Juve getting that 90+1 goal game winner, but what a game.
Adzic, youngster coming into the Juve fold now. Questions asked about Summer. I think that's a little harsh. I think it was just hit with so much ferocity, right? So much power that Summer was just a bit late to it, really, and I don't fault him at all for that strike.
He would have saved it if it was against Barcelona.
That's a great point. But Patrick, Juve, perfect start to Serie A. Are they back?
So go back to his point. I was going to bring up the same thing. They're looking better than they did last year in recent years.
In the last 3-4 years,
they look a little bit rejuvenated. So this could be a very
no pun intended.
I didn't even think about that. But this could be a pretty interesting year for Juventus in Serie A. Again, 3 for 3, 9 points. Can't really be complaining at all.
Yeah, I mean they have the perfect start for them, right? Especially under Tudor now, right? The new manager who came in last year is looking to kind of, like you said, restart things because they're always caught in this cycle, I feel like. Sack Allegri, try someone else. Actually, no, wait. Allegri come back, but then you end up sacking him again. Yeah. So I think it's important that they move away from that and really, get back to their form. I mean, they are the club in Italy, They went on that, 10 in a row, right? Ridiculous. That famous era. They have Hellas Verona next, and then Atalanta, of course, lost to PSG. Look, if they continue in this form, I think Inter and the other guys are going to start. Absolutely. Napoli up there as well. So Serie A is shaping up to always be an interesting title race. We're going to come back locally, though. Patrick always makes sure we cover our Orlando teams. Yes. Nashville at home.
Coming up.
Let's flip the page on what happened in Nashville, though, just a couple weeks ago.
Yeah. So, if you read the screen, last time we met out,
not
away
very
in
pretty.
Nashville, we got worked.
Yeah.
We got worked.
Pretty badly.
Again, and not that this was an excuse at all. Going into that game, we're like, okay, we're going to kind of let it go because we have Miami in Leagues Cup. And obviously that gamble did not pay off at all because we're struggling right now. Even our last game out before last weekend against DC, a 1-1 draw against last place DC.
That was a horrendous performance. Performance.
We only have
terrible.
I believe after this game, there's only 2 or 3 home matches left.
Wow.
We have about 4 or 5 games left total in the regular season before playoffs start. Orlando usually are notorious for going crazy in the second half of the season. Right now, they are falling apart, and they need to get their stuff together at home this weekend against Nashville, because if they don't, I'm going to lose it.
It's not an easy end to the season. Nashville, then Cincy away. Columbus is that home game you were talking about, and then away at Toronto, which, you would expect them to win. But Octo,
Vancouver as well.
That's right. So if you're Oscar Pereira right now, Octo, like Patrick was saying, usually OC is a team that wakes up in the second half. This season, it's been kind of reverse of that.
Right now, that's what it's starting to look like, and it's raising a lot of alarm bells. Because here's the thing. Right now, we have 47 or 48 points. Nashville are in fourth. Top four obviously get posting priority, right? So everybody wants to finish top four.
Yeah.
But we've dropped down all the way to eighth right now. Obviously, we're only 2 points behind Nashville, but it's very cluttered. Everybody's fighting for those spots right now. And I don't know. I'm very worried about this matchup because Nashville is looking dangerous this year.
Octo, I was going to ask you, like, look, you rested players, right? Focusing on Leagues Cup for Miami. Then you got knocked out of Leagues Cup. It's just been hammer blow after hammer blow. Do you see them kind of picking themselves up in these next couple games?
You got to play your best 11, not just who's fit, or obviously who's fit, but you got to play the elite players on your squad. You can't afford another loss to Nashville. I mean, 5-1 is an embarrassment.
Horrible.
You go through that twice in one season. Yeah. You're going to start hearing some things.
Not very good. Not very good, but this is a chance, at Inter & Co. I was about to say Explorer. At Inter & Co., to kind of get things back on track. Palmeiras River Plate.
Unfortunately.
Oh, yeah, don't be chanting River after this performance. Look, I was actually watching this game. Usually I don't tune into Libertadores. I don't as much as I should. But I watched this game last night, Patrick. I know you were also tuned in. The first half particularly, Palmeiras absolutely flying all over the place, intense. Took a 2-0 lead, commanding 2-0 lead, which they, of course, kind of protected well in the second half. But Cuarta, with that late goal, kind of keeping things alive into Brazil.
For sure. But, I mean, man, River Plate, come on, guys. As much as I love you guys, this is what happens.
They couldn't get out of their defensive half.
At El Monumental. That's crazy. And Palmeiras, though, they're looking dangerous. Shout out Facundo Torres, by the way.
Such a good
OC
team.
Legend. But Palmeiras looking great. And now that they can take this away result back home to Brazil, the cards are in their favor.
Yeah. I mean, that is no doubt about that. They're only 4 points off of the top of the Brasileiro. In Brazil, they're, of course, pushing for that title. And look, they're always dangerous in Libertadores. But to get the win at El Monumental, of all places, I mean, that place, even with River 2-0 down, if there was no score bug, you'd think River up 5-0. I mean, the atmosphere in that building is ridiculous. It's just so vibrant. It's so vibrant. Let's move on, though. We'll recap the second leg once that comes.
Japan.
Back to Japan real quick. Urawa Reds, another Club World Cup.
Yeah.
They made a name for themselves. Bring us up to date with how they're doing in J League.
Okay, so Urawa Reds, this could be their last chance at getting back into the conversation for the title.
Okay.
So we're going into the final stretch of the J1 season, so first division. There's 8 games left, I believe. And right now, they're sitting in 8th. Okay, 48 points behind second place and first place. First and second are tied at 55. Okay, that doesn't seem impossible to do, but the thing is, if Kashima get 3 points at least here, Urawa could probably kiss any chances of the chance of winning the title, right? Goodbye. Because the top is just too close. We even go back a couple weeks when I talked to about it. The gap is still 4 points from first
small
to
separation.
First to fourth, and 2 more after that to 6. So Urawa Reds, I mean, I love them in Club World Cup play. I loved, just seeing the traveling support as well up in Seattle. That was amazing.
Yes.
Kashima are one of the more notorious, bigger clubs in Japan. Brazilian legend Zico used to play here a long time ago.
That's right. Throwback.
But it's also an important part. I want to take a look at this for Urawa. The last time they won the J League was 2006, the modern J League.
Okay.
So they haven't won the modern J League since 2006, 1982, 78, 73, 69, before it was revamped to J League. So they've been pretty trophyless for a while because they've had their Asian Champions League, but they haven't had a domestic title in almost 20 years. Kashima, 2016, it's been a little bit of a drought, but they still have also continental success as well. So this should be a pretty interesting matchup, in my opinion.
What time is this at? 3 a.m.?
Probably 5, 6 a.m. I have no idea.
Man.
Am I watching? No?
Yeah, highlights.
I will highlights.
Let's keep up with the highlights. So let's finish things off with the most important game in this segment. At home against Manchester City. Now, this one is always a big one, guys. Last season, look, we took care of business in an emphatic fashion. 5-1 last season, if you guys remember, at the Emirates last time out. Look, we haven't lost to them in quite some time. And, I mean, the last 5 meetings, 2 wins, 3 draws. Usually at the Etihad, it's more of a cagey affair. At the Emirates, we attack them. And Octo, this season so far, we've talked about City getting, kind of tripped up by the likes of Tottenham, for example, right? Do you see us kind of, continuing our form? I mean, look, I remind you, just 1 goal conceded so far this season.
Even as a Chelsea fan, I got to say, Arsenal has looked very good this year. Obviously, the signing of Gyökeres. You have my boy, Noni Madueke, who played elite. Eberechi Eze, we don't even need to mention
Want to keep going, Zubi-Man?
No.
Mascara at the back? Beast.
But the way that Arsenal attacks looked, I honestly see them carving through that Man City defense. As much as it pains me to say. I think Gyökeres nets a brace in that game. I think it finishes 3-2. Haaland might get a goal. He always does. He's a robot.
Yeah.
I think Arsenal comes out on top here.
I'll take that. Liverpool have Everton at home in the Merseyside derby. Lots to look forward to all across the world of football in these next few days. Octo, thank you so much for returning to HTFC. We'll see you very soon. But stay tuned. We're talking Champions League segment 2. You won't want to miss it. All right, everyone, thank you for sticking around. We're back for segment 2, and as I alluded to, Champions League talk. It's back, and this week has been already insane in the first 2 days. And joining us for the very first time on HTFC, and I think on HTF in general, and McGrath, welcome in. How are you?
I'm good. It's awesome to be here. I'm so glad I got a chance to talk about this week and next week.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. Welcome in. Patrick, sorry, she has a Miami shirt. Don't take that personally, okay? Blame Melissa. Blame Melissa. It's okay. Anyway, let's get into this because we have so much to talk about. Let's talk Tuesday games so far, right? The first one, PSV Union Saint-Gilloise, 3-1 for Union. I mean, that was one that caught your eye, Patrick.
Yes, because this is the first major victory for Union in Champions League ever, and against PSV. Sure, you can make the argument, it's just PSV. It's not like, they're a Bayern or a Barcelona, but it's still a bigger opponent than
Tough
Union.
Game to start.
An amazing appearance for this Belgian side, and PSV at home, especially away at PSV, for them to pull off a 3-1 win away to get started on their Champions League campaign, not bad at all. I think they'll be pretty happy with that.
Let's keep moving along. Arsenal beating Bilbao 2-0 at San Mamés. I'm very happy about that. Martinelli, thank you very much. Trossard as well getting on the score sheet. Tottenham beating Villarreal 1-0. Yes. It was a very stupid own goal from Villarreal, by the way, the keeper. I mean, I sent you the video. How does that even happen? How does that happen? Let's move on. Benfica 2, Karabag 3. That's a big one. Jose Mourinho is going to Benfica. Patrick, they need his help.
Yeah, and yes, they do. And also, but it's like, let's not take this away from Karabag at all.
Oh, not at all?
This is a
2-0
huge
down?
result from any Armenian side ever.
Yes.
So this is huge. I think they'll be pretty happy regardless of how the rest of their campaign goes, that they managed to do this away in Portugal, 3-2, late as well. I think we'll be pretty happy.
Azerbaijan, not Armenia, but it's close enough.
I thought it was Armenia.
All good. All good. Real Madrid beating Marseille. We'll talk about that more in a little bit, very controversially. And though, Juve 4, Dortmund 4. That one caught your eye.
It was an extremely electric match.
It was.
I do think everyone was pretty, well-versed. The resilience with Juve, down 4-2 with 10 minutes to go, and then they didn't fold. Lloyd Kelly's stoppage time goal capped off a comeback that felt like a win, even if it was a tie. It's just kind of insane, heart, grit, attacking firepower. It was just a really good game.
Classic Dortmund, Patrick. Again, we'll get more into that in a little bit. Bodo Glimt getting a draw away at Slavia Prague. I think that's a pretty notable result. Yes. Olympiacos and Paphos, another debutant in the Champions League, getting a point. PSG took care of business against Atalanta 4-0. Liverpool laid on against Atleti 3-2. We'll talk about that more. And then Bayern and Inter getting wins as well. But let's jump into our predictions for this season. Patrick, I'm putting the pressure on Liverpool to win the whole thing this season. Now, is it a double bluff? You might say so. Look, perfect start to the season like we talked about in the previous segment. 5-0 so far, late winners in each one of those games. But there's no excuses. Slot had the dream summer window. He has no excuses. He has to go out and prove prove himself.
I think so, especially considering the context of last season, right? Let's take a look at last Champions League season. They went out pretty early, I think a lot sooner than most people expected.
To PSG.
Who, of course, eventually would win last year's edition of the Champions League. Liverpool are probably looking right now to kind of come back from that and just see how can they bounce back and not let that happen again, because it looked, granted, PSG, Donnarumma played his body, like he was crazy.
Insane.
Liverpool couldn't do much there, but I'm sure they just don't want to repeat of that. So that's something they have to be worried about.
And even in Paris, though, that performance was a little, kind of leaving it late as well. If you remember, I believe it was Harvey Elliott who won the game, or not won, but got the goal for Liverpool at the Parc des Princes, kind of kept them in it, but then at Anfield just couldn't really come up with the goods. I don't mean this in the rundown, because like I said, I am just simply applying the pressure. I'm like, Liverpool, okay, you're the favorites for the Prem, you're the favorites for the Champions League, prove it, go ahead. Last season, first one under Slot, of course, they delivered, like you said, in the Premier League. Now, can they go that extra mile? Can they take that extra step? Of course, they lost to the eventual champions, PSG, in the Champions League, just like we did. But I'm going to, just kind of leave it to Liverpool. Go ahead, show us, right? Hey, we talk about Verts, we talk about Kirkes, Ekitike, Isak. They got everyone and anyone this summer window, so let's put the pressure on them. Who do you think is going to win the Champions League?
This is a pretty safe option, but we're going to go Real Madrid.
Sure, why not?
I feel like they're always there every other year. It feels like this could be that every other year kind of year, so they're going to be back there. And Mbappe, he's off to a flying start. We'll get to him in a second.
Yeah. Save that one for the end of the segment. Yep.
Huge, talking point right there. Real Madrid, though, they are Champions League. We've said that so many times. They are champions.
But they were shaky.
They were.
Very shaky at home to Marseille.
You can argue that they don't deserve. No. They didn't deserve to beat Marseille.
I agree. I don't think they did. 2 penalties got them across the line and against Marseille.
Controversial ones.
The second one was a farce. How a referee... We talk about, we could have had another referee segment this week. Unreal decision there. It was a clean tackle. But then he lands and his arm hits the ball, and apparently that's a penalty nowadays. Just explain it. Yeah. Explain it. Madrid can't get the Vardrid allegations off their back because it's ridiculous. And who do you think has a better chance? Real Madrid, Liverpool? I know you are high on Juve after their comeback.
I think Real Madrid might have a better chance just because 5 games this season, they're already kind of chucking it.
Yeah.
So I'd say they kind of have more of an inkling towards it.
I like it.
And look, this is all under a new manager, by the way.
Xabi Alonso, that's right, coming in. Yeah, came in, of course, the Club World Cup, huge expectations. Couldn't get over the line there, but have kind of turned the page on that quickly. And perfect start to the season so far. Dark horses, though. Patrick, I like your choice.
You think so?
Yeah, just a bit. Explain
Arsenal.
Why.
Well, okay, here's the thing. I feel like it was kind of cheating because it was easy, but I feel like too many people are writing them off. I feel like too many people are writing them off. I want to go back to even in our previous segment talking about Arsenal. How many people were saying, "Oh, Gyökeres, he's not going to score any goals. He already has 3 in league play."
That's just hating to hate.
He's got to get going in Champions League, obviously. Yeah. But he's going to be there. And Arsenal, I think this is the team. If they could do it that well last season with a bunch of missing pieces, I think this year it shouldn't be any different, if not even better than last year. And I don't feel like people are giving Arsenal the proper credit that they deserve. They're already overlooking, the second place. They always finish second place. It doesn't even matter. The talk is always going to be Liverpool, Real Madrid, Barcelona. But I feel like I have Arsenal winning this year. I think
right now we are the 4th favorites for the Champions League. I don't mind you putting us in a dark horse spot at all because, look, the whole conversation around us has historically been, they're a young team. They don't have the experience. Last 3 seasons, you mentioned it, second place, right? Last season, semifinals of the Champions League. Barely missing out to PSG, and it could have gone either way. Unfortunately, if you remember, we were on the road
we were going to
for
Tampa.
The second leg, and we could have been 1-0 up in the first 5 minutes there. Edgar, I believe it was, with an early chance, couldn't finish. Talk about Donnarumma, he was huge. But let's talk about the defensive depth, because I don't get tired of talking about this. You ready? First choice back 4, right? Calafiori, Gabriel, Saliba, Timber. Okay, that's our first choice. That's our ideal back 4. But don't fret, because if any one of those is injured, our second choice, Lewis Skelly, Mosquera, Hincapié, and Ben White. We've already seen Mosquera is an absolute monster at the back. Hey, I think we can make another deep run. I just think we're in a perfect position now. Given the last season and given our experience now, I mean, this team is being molded into exactly what Arteta wants. So I'm very happy. Napoli is my dark horse. And look, they play City. They have recording. We'll see how that goes. But I think Antonio Conte has a very good setup here, Patrick. De Bruyne, McTominay, Højlund even getting on the score sheet. Who thought that was possible? Yeah. I think they have a little chance to make a deep run.
I think, honestly, I didn't even think about Napoli considering, like, this whole, like, rebuild almost they have. Almost. Like, De Bruyne leaving Man City to Napoli. He almost seems like he's gotten younger over there, right?
Yeah. Everyone who goes to Italy just gets a glow up for some reason.
Højlund scoring for Napoli after Man United. We all are aware Højlund was pretty miserable at United. Didn't do anything over there. Now he's kind of shining already. You would hope McTominay, of course, won Napoli or helped Napoli win the league. Pivotal piece in the midfield.
An irreplaceable part of that midfield now for Napoli.
I absolutely agree. Napoli could be genuine contenders for making a deep run this year.
I definitely think so. And what catches your eye from either Arsenal or Napoli?
The 3 wins is pretty great.
Yeah.
They already have a leg up in the season. You know, even if most have 5, they're halfway there. And I think their campaign could be really great this season.
Yeah.
It is still really early in the season, so it's kind of hard to always gauge, okay, you know, like a couple wins, okay. It's maybe with a grain of salt. But as long as we keep seeing this as the weeks progress, give it a month or two when we get a better picture of how the season looks overall, we'll see just how these predictions could go.
And I think the performance at the Etihad is going to tell us a lot. Against a City side who's going to be favored going into there. But we know Conte's style is very defensive. It's give the opposition no room, no space. Give them no advantage. Take everything away from them. Look, I think, they have a great chance to maybe get something out of that Etihad and even, continue that great start. We give Juve flowers for their start to the season. I think it should be the same for Napoli. Let's talk about flops, though. Who we think is going to disappoint us in the Champions League? Interesting choice by you.
Yeah.
Barca.
So, basically, right.
You don't believe in flickball.
No. I think Barcelona are, I think they're more than capable of winning Champions League. But I just... I don't know. I think there's going to be so much pressure and just so much drama around this club. Like there always is.
Yeah.
This year, as good as Yamal is, as good as Rafinha is, as good as their entire team is, I don't think they'll handle it this year. I think they're going to fall short again. And they're going to continue that decade-long drought of no Champions League. And I just see that happening. I'm not going to lie. I'm also kind of just a hater. So I don't really want to see Barcelona win Champions League. So.
Listen, I mean, you paint a grim picture. Becca's giving you a side eye at the moment.
That's why I'm not looking in her direction.
A very nasty one, very aggressive from Becca today. Anyway, they start away at Newcastle. A very tough place to go. So, look, I mean, anything can happen. If Newcastle play the way they did against Dortmund, for example, a couple of years ago in the Champions League.
Or even PSG.
PSG, yes, that was the second one. I mean, they played their hearts out. Of course, very tricky summer window, losing Isak, right? This would be a statement window for Newcastle. Barca destroyed Valencia. 6-0 last time out. What does a win like that do you think, Anne? I mean, 6-0, you absolutely just, destroy, right? They weren't even in the game. Valencia weren't.
It definitely gets the fans fired up. I'll tell you that. I mean, it gets you super excited for the rest of the season. The tourney was amazing. Just the gameplay back and forth was insane. And they just crushed them. There wasn't even gameplay.
I have a question for you.
Ooh.
Okay. So, how old are you right now?
I'm 20.
Okay. What were you doing at 18?
I was in high school, man. I was trying to graduate.
You know what was going on? You know what Lamine Yamal is doing at 18? He's still banging in ridiculous goals. And he's still going after all these years.
Well, that's
and he's still going to keep going.
That's interesting.
And I still don't think it'll be enough.
Because Flick has been fuming with the Spanish national team.
Yes.
Because they played him and played him and played him, even though they were destroying the likes of Turkey, right? And just blowing the opposition out of the water. Yamal's now injured. Yeah. And won't play against Newcastle. We didn't see him against Valencia, so that's interesting you bring that up because, look, Flick is kind of like, well, what are we doing? I mean, he needs a break, even though he's 17 only, he needs a break, man, and he's a crucial part to this Barca team, as we all know. I decided to also pick a Spanish, team for my flop, and you agree with me, Atletico Madrid have had an atrocious start to this season. We talk about Napoli and all these people, starting without losing. Atleti only have 1 win so far this season, and look, we saw them almost get a draw at Anfield, which was going to be super surprising. I mean, Marcos Llorente, Golazos, right? Almost rescuing Atleti there. Almost.
They start off horrendous.
It was the earliest they've ever been 2-0 down in the Champions League, ever. Yep. It was also the earliest Liverpool was 2-0 up. And it's just so unlike Simeone.
But this is what I'm saying.
Is this a season too far for Simeone?
This is what I'm telling you. He's been there forever. How many years? He got appointed, what, in 2000?
I would say like 14-ish.
2013-ish.
Let's confirm that.
He's been there for the better part of a decade. And I genuinely just think, like, teams know what he's going to do. They know how to unlock his team. Sure, these games are either the
2011.
2011. Almost 15 years. These games are either the most boring thing you could watch,
of urgency. It's just really stale.
Or it's the most
stale is the perfect word.
Or it's the most frenzy thing possible.
Right.
There's no in between.
Like last night.
Right, exactly. So Simeone, I think he's an awesome coach. I love him and what he brings to football as a whole.
Sure.
But it's time to move on, I think, from Atletico Madrid. And I think Atletico Madrid need to move on from it. If they have, again, I keep saying this, if they want to win La Liga, if they want to win Champions League, they got to move on.
Yeah.
Look, Simeone, like we talk about, I mean, he's a beloved character, manager there at Atleti, but this starts the season is unacceptable. Unacceptable. We saw him get a red card at the end of the game last night as well. Just it's getting to his head a little bit now. He really is. Yeah. But I'm glad you agree with me, Anne. Yeah. I mean, it was close, but Liverpool were always going to win that game last night. Let's talk about our player of this of the tournament, who we think is going to be the player of the tournament. And we agree. Kylian Mbappe all across the board. Already 4 goals and an assist. But the most interesting thing for me is that Vinny isn't even starting. I mean, he is completely getting overshadowed by Mbappe, Patrick. He's really taking this on his shoulders, upon himself. And it's basically saying, look, 2 penalties against Marseille. I see it continuing because he has had an electric start to this season.
Sure. I mean, you could argue, there's 2 penalties. Well, you still got to score at the end of the day. You still got to score at the end of the day. It's still a job to do.
Even if they're gifts by the referee.
Right. Still a job to do. But I mean, put that aside. Mbappe has always been one of the most elite and lethal strikers, not only of his generation, but we could make the argument of all time.
Recent generations
of all time. So this is, I think, a statement year. I think he's looking to make this a statement year because couldn't get Champions League last year with Real Madrid, right? Guess what? PSG won. He just left them. So I'm sure he has a little bit of a burden on his shoulder to drag Real Madrid across the finish line, get them another Champions League, just to add on to the already so many accolades he has. But
he's always kind of scrutinized a little more. And because, he comes in with the big name.
I mean, he's a seasoned player.
Exactly.
He's going to get
World Cup at 18.
That penalty, that second one, I believe, against Marseille, made him already, reach 50 goals at Real Madrid. You have a player like that on your team, it's almost like you already start a goal up.
Yeah.
And then you have to also understand, you could make the argument that Mbappe, he should already have a Champions League in some point in his career, but he doesn't.
Is this it?
So it's got to come soon. I think this year could be a good year if he locks in.
It definitely could. And any last words on the Champions League?
I want to say that Barcelona could get up there,
Disagree with Patrick.
I mean, look, they have a really good team.
Their team is mixed with a lot of younger, players that, just starting out. I think it could be a good,
Okay. We'll see who's right. They play Newcastle. Like I said, I'm sure we'll recap it next week.
A bunch more games today.
Yes. 3 days for the first week of the Champions League. We can't complain. And thank you so much for joining us on HTFC. Hope that you come back later in the season. But we have one more left. Patrick and I are going to break down.
I forgot we have a segment 3.
Well, how could you forget? UCF soccer. Don't go anywhere. All right, everyone. We are back for the 3rd segment this week. Patrick might have forgotten, but don't worry. We are still here. UCF soccer, Patrick, for the very first time on HTFC. Yes. Also, it's just a little one-on-one conversation. So let's get right into it. Let's start with men's soccer, okay? 2-3-1 to start this season so far. It's been, a tough non-conference slate. We were just looking at it. Wake Forest away. UNC away. USF away. tough start. Do you think that was by design for Scott Calabrese and his boys?
I think that's a good way to kind of gauge where they're at. You know, obviously before you head into the Sun Belt Conference part of the season. I think that's a great way to kind of start gauging what your players are looking like, who you've brought in, you know, who you've recruited, right? Because let's be honest, last season, not memorable at all.
No.
The one before that, awesome.
Of course.
But
right.
That last year was a bit of a dip, so I'm sure he's trying to kind of recalibrate this group, figure out what went wrong last year, how to make sure that doesn't happen again, and make sure that they're contenders this year for Sunbelt, NCAA, all that stuff.
Yeah, and look, I think last season our main downfall was our away form.
I think so. That was horrible.
It was pretty atrocious.
Yeah.
And that kind of bit us, you know, at the end of the season.
For sure.
This, look, I mean, you talk about UNC Greensboro as well at home, ranked number 23, right? Losing that game weren't at all clicking. But I think one of the things about the men's soccer, you know, setup with Calabrese is that his game plan, his philosophy is very intricate. It's very complex to get the hang of. Many times compared to Pep, how he plays possession style, passing, right? Keeping possession, controlling the game. When you have this many new guys, though, it's kind of difficult to implement that, especially early in the season.
Everybody. Yes, absolutely. You have to give them a little bit of time to integrate, obviously, into this brand new system. To me, personally, hopefully I don't get canceled by UCF here, but I've never been a huge fan of Calabrese's style of play.
Really? Okay.
I feel like I don't know. I think just because it's so complex and so intricate, like you said, you have to require very specific profile of players that, you know, at the college level, I feel like it can be kind of hard to get to.
It is.
You know?
No, absolutely.
But if it works, it works. We saw that fall of 2023, you know, #1 ranking in the country, obviously, for men's soccer.
Yeah.
But it's just, that's my only real main issue. I feel like it doesn't work too often than it does, if that makes sense.
No, that's a fair point. Look, let's not burn any bridges with Calabrese.
But no.
no, of course. I get what you mean.
That's what we're
hard
looking for this
to
year.
grasp. You know, it is hard to get your head around. Last time out against Jacksonville, I want to talk about that game because we were both there. Very solid Jacksonville side. They play in the A-Sun, but they might be one of the favorites to win that conference. I mean, defensively, they kept their shape all 90 minutes. It took 2 set pieces, and it took 2 a Woodor to Jem Hewlett connections, right, 2 headers to get past the line there. I think that's another thing he'll want to improve, right? Kind of getting across the line when teams kind of sit in a low block. We look at the previous 4 results on your screen. Jacksonville and then South Florida. We got to mention South Florida because it was Brandon Nyong'Orungo to Joao Bermudez connection for the South Florida goal. You're wondering, why am I naming South Florida players by name? They, of course, played for Nona FC over the summer. So I'll say UCF won, Nona FC won there for USF. But then we talk about the UNC Greensboro loss. We talk about the demolition of UT Rio Grande Valley. 2 Nona players on there as well, in Mohamed Pui. And why am I forgetting the other guy's name?
I forgot to.
Why am I forgetting?
There's too many guys.
Malang. Mandiang.
Yes,
there he is. I wouldn't forget you, my friend. But 4-0 there. It's just, it's been a start. It's been a rough start to the season. Look, they are projected to finish 3rd in the Sun Belt, okay, behind West Virginia and Marshall.
Of course.
They kick up, I mean, the normal suspects in the Sun Belt.
Marshall and West Virginia up top.
We start against Kentucky away from home, okay? That will be tomorrow from the time of recording. They're projected to finish 4th in the Sun Belt. And then already, boom, West Virginia is our home opener in the Sun Belt this season. 9th season for Calabrese, we talk about it. It's going to be a tough season, though. It's going to be a tough season again. We talk about Clarence Woodor, though, for example. Already, 2 goals, 4 assists. He's the playmaker in this team.
He's balling out, and he needs to keep it up. I like what I'm seeing from him this year so far.
How about a guy like Claudel Ngubu? 6'5" as your striker, okay?
You got to feed him those balls in the air.
Yes.
You have to.
Take advantage of that. UT Rio Grande Valley, scored that beautiful flick, made it onto SportsCenter top 10.
Nice.
He might be another guy, you know, up top. You lose a guy help me, Forward Madison. Why am I blanking?
Luca Dorado.
You lose a guy like Dorado, right, who's been your talisman for the last few seasons. But you've replaced him with, like I said, a tank up top. Now you got to learn how to play with him.
Absolutely. Think of him as like college-level Isak.
Yes, I like that. I like that.
Our own Isak.
That is very true. That's a great comparison. I mean, like he's gonna have to hit the ground running as well. If this Knights team is, to do something special this season. But I think that's enough on the men's side. Yes. Let's move over to the women's side. We're keeping the best for last because 5-0 start in the first 5 games this season under Coach Tiffany Roberts-Sahadak. Once again, 13th season at UCF, by the way. So these soccer programs very solidified. It's been lots of years of hard work from both of those coaches. Start the season 5-0. Emphatic wins away at the Swamp against UF. It was Rahana Reed with the late goal there. And then how about Gabby Bershon at home against LSU? 11 seconds left on the clock. The stadium erupted. I mean, it was an absolutely electric moment. But you start the season this well, and it's like, whoa. Compared to last
year.
They had a very long season last year. Really struggled, in their first year in the Big 12.
They're looking great already.
Really good.
Really good.
Really good. They recruited well, added depth to this team. Of course, you lose someone like Chloe Netzel.
Yeah.
You can't really replace her, though.
No.
You can't replace her production in just one player.
I feel like she would be thriving right now with this squad.
Yes.
But just like you said, you can't replace her with one player, but what we did here with what Coach Tiff did here.
Yeah.
She recruited really well. Her staff recruited really well. And it's all working together, and it's working amazing. And I'm excited to see how conference play looks like as well.
So, funny you mentioned that. West Virginia at home.
Okay,
very, very soon will be the Big 12 home opener for the women's team. That is tonight, actually. So, are you going to be there?
Class, yes.
Yeah, perfect. So we will all be there. HTFC will be representing at the Big 12 home opener against West Virginia. Again, a solid team. I was looking at their past results. It's like 4 or 5 straight clean sheets for West Virginia.
So
they come in here on a very hot run of form.
Yeah.
We already talked about some of these results for UCF. Now, I think kind of opposite to the men's non-conference slate, this for the women's side was one that they were expected to go 6-1 or even 7-0.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, the 7-0 was kind of taken away by FIU, a game where like Liz Warden, right, who's one of those players who's looking to step up, maybe fill the shoes of Chloe Netzel. Just too many chances missed.
Just couldn't do it.
Unlike her so far this season, because she's hit the ground running, it has to be said. But FIU come here in our space game, ruin the party. FIU do, wearing their Miami Vice kits, very colorful, very vibrant.
I didn't like them. They were pretty ugly.
You don't like them?
No.
I kind of like the Miami Vice, the blue, pink. The producer's desk is
appalled
by that statement.
I thought it was pretty ugly.
I kind of like the Miami Vice, right? 305? No? Wow, okay. Stay in
ugly.
Orlando then. You're not welcome in Miami. Do you think that was a good thing, though, for them to kind of come back down to earth early on?
I mean, it's going to happen inevitably, eventually anyway, right? So I guess better now than later to kind of get like that reset. Like, okay, they really struggled in front of net that day. So what can we work on to kind of just tweak for future? So I think it was good for that to happen now before it was too deep into the season.
And if anything, I think that loss, people were probably looking at that LSU game and probably saying, you know what, that's probably where it's going to come. It didn't, though. We got across the line. We got across the line at the Swamp. And then it was, unfortunately, that space game against FIU, like I said. But look, West Virginia, and then you take a road trip. Arizona, and then Arizona State. Those are your first 3 games in the Big 12. And like I said, last season, I mean, it was just a slug, right? They couldn't get any momentum last season. They already kind of did that, though, in the non-conference. How important is it for us to hit the ground running tonight and then on the road on the West Coast?
I mean, it's a quick turnaround, and it's a hard turnaround, too, because there's a lot of traveling involved for the away part, right?
Yep.
But I think the women's team, they're looking a lot better than last year. So I think they can probably handle it just fine, especially at home. I think the real test is going to be that away fixture in Arizona.
Yeah, both. Arizona and then Arizona State. You look at someone like Maria Tregonson in the midfield, just pulling the needle, right? Just absolutely controlling things, right, at the back. Kind of in that 6 role, really, for UCF. She's been super important. And then we talk about Netzel leaving, but then you have Rahana Reed. You have Liz Warden. You have different options for Coach Tiff to kind of go and attack this Big 12 season. Same for men, hoping to have a great Sun Belt season. And who knows, maybe UCF makes a deep run. Certainly good start for the women's. Absolutely. We'll be looking to ride that high run of form. Any last words from you, Pat?
I mean, I guess we'll just have to, we'll keep up to date, obviously,
yes,
with these
guys.
guys.
We'll do freaking updates
as
this season.
we go throughout, because it's going to be a very interesting season.
It's going to be good.
It's going to be a lot interesting. Compared to last season, a lot better.
It's going to be good.
Hopefully.
It all starts tonight. By the time this comes out, 3 days ago? But we will be talking about UCF soccer frequently. We'll kind of throw them in there every once in a while. But from Patrick, from myself, from Ann and Octa, who joined us on today's show, Alyssa stepping in to produce today. Thank you very much. And Becca as well, as always. We will see you next week. Catch you then.